Hello everyone, I'm Cassandra.
And I'm Mom.
And this is Millennial and Mom, and welcome back to our channel. Welcome back to our couch where we are here to talk about Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 10, Third Week's a Charm. And you know what? I said for this episode, I am not going to be bothered by Christopher and Paige's shenanigans. No one's shenanigans. And I actually really wasn't. But before we talk about anything, I just want to have to compliment Mom because she looks really cute today.
Thank you, girl.
Not saying you don't look cute any day, but you know, today you look really cute.
I look refreshed?
Yes.
Oh, I'm actually tired, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Before we go into the episode, how did you feel about this episode?
You do too.
Thanks. But how do you feel about this episode, Mom?
You know what? Unfortunately, this episode was yet another filler episode for me.
It was.
And I think, honestly, going until the tell-all reunion will be filler episodes because we've seen the cracks in the foundations for all the couples, and I'm not sure who the front runner is anymore. I know who's the most likable, but there's cracks along the way. So I just think we're just going to see just things that it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, with the episodes. Well, let's just go ahead and get into this filler episode. So we start off with Eric and Virginia. And the first thing that Virginia had coming out her mouth was the passwords. I don't know if it's what she had or what he had, but the password is the dog's name. And I'm like, Virginia, I hope you change that password because it is nothing for no one to look up your email address or anything.
Right.
And put in your password for all your stuff.
I mean, identity theft on national TV, it's Rocky in all platforms. That's her dog's name. I'm like, Virginia. And then she was like, oh, so you want to share passwords? I'm like, Eric, no. You're on film.
Exactly. But the most important thing that happened within this scene is Virginia is finally getting to talk about, you know, she's not doing too much drinking. She is actually doing more talking because she's starting to notice that they are not having the conversations that they need to help progress them because they don't want to get into those arguments and those tiffs or anything like that. So one of the conversations that came up was about the phone, and Eric was like, you know, well, you can go through my phone. That's fine if you go through my phone. And Virginia was like, well, I don't think you want to go through my phone because, you know, you don't really like the people who I talk to, specifically the guys. He was like, well, you know, those two guys I met, but everyone else, you know, I'm not really too sure about because I don't know them.
Yeah, and he has concerns there because based on her party girl image, based on when I get drunk Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I may, you know, sleep on their sofas or something. So he has definite concerns there about who her friends are, you know, because he only really met one.
He met two.
Well, okay.
But I got a question for you, Mom, because you've been on Eric's side. I'm not going to say team. I'm going to say side with some of his viewpoints. Do you think that it would be a problem for her to befriend or like pictures of her ex-boyfriend?
I don't know. I think they would have to have more of a conversation. I think maybe like they should both, if they both have friends and exes that they're still friendly with, that they like, maybe they can both like sit down and look at it together maybe. Because once you start doing things separately and like you find out about it like on other MAFS seasons, that becomes an issue.
So you're split.
I'm split, but I do think they should really do it together.
I think it's an issue. I don't think you should have your ex-boyfriend, girlfriend on your social media or like pictures.
But you're talking about Virginia. So she said that she wasn't changing for anyone, period. So I'm basing off of Virginia and Eric situation, not based off of real time situation.
All right, so we're gonna move forward with the episode and go to Brianna and Vincent. And this is pretty much the episode where we finally see Dr. Viviana because she wants to go to all the couples to help them build trust in their relationship because she sees what's going on with everybody. I was like, oh really? You be seeing what's going on?
I mean, we were trying to figure out why you claimed you didn't know the first time.
That's another point for another video. Dr. Viviana prides out like, you know, we see things, we've been hearing things, and it seems like one party always has a kind of a conflict with the other party when things don't go their way.
Right.
And of course, we already knew they were talking about Vincent because that's Vincent's MO so far. And Vincent, you know, with this whole scene with Dr. Viviana, he seems like he's taking accountability after the fact.
Yeah.
Does it still count? I guess because, you know, you're still learning and growing, so I'll give him that. he realized his faults with the champagne incident because Dr. Viviana tried to make him seem, just because she said it was so Vinny of you. Maybe did you think about asking her what she meant in that moment?
Yeah, but not just that incident, all the incidences when they had issues, from the champagne, referencing all the way to the salsa dancing, when it's like, yeah, he didn't feel like, that was the best way because, he's better at dancing and other things. Okay, but that's the point of a class.
Exactly.
To learn together. And, that's when Vince was like, I kind of handled like I was a 7-year-old.
You call him Vince now, it's not Vinny or Vince.
Well, I'm going to get to that. He said he kind of handled it like he was a 7-year-old. He could have did it better. And
like I've been saying.
I wouldn't have said 7. I would have said like maybe 10.
Oh, no, it's 7. You know why I say 7?
I do, why?
Besides me teaching 7-year-olds, it's 7 because at that age they realize rights and wrongs, but they still have this built up like feelings and angers and don't really know how to place them. And that's what Vincent does. He doesn't really know how to place them until after the fact, where he finally stepped back and realizes that it's not just him being affected, it's also Brianna being affected. And I'm glad that Dr. Viviana tried to make him see it in this episode. I just wonder if it's going to last for future episodes.
Okay, Dr. Cassandra.
Okay. Now this is when we roll into Christopher and Paige. But it's not Christopher. It's just Paige. Don't even start with those shenanigans that he pulled. So come to find out, 2 days since they last taped and wanted to restart, Paige has not heard from Chris. Not a phone call, text, a letter, an email, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, nothing from Chris. So she was like, I really want to get to the bottom of what's happening. So since Dr. Viviana is visiting everyone, she texts Chris to come over so they can have a talk with Dr. Viviana. But when Chris comes over, he just seems so disinterested, like, hey, what's up?
What's up, yo? I'm like, first of all,
on the phone the whole time.
This is not your homeboy. This is the person that you sign up for the process with. Even though you don't consider her your wife or anything like that, you clearly consider her a side piece. Hate to say it that way, but that's clearly how it comes across in my point of view, right? So when Dr. Viviana got there, she asked really what the issues were because, we've heard several things. I'm like, you know what? You should have called on the honeymoon. I've said that from the beginning. I stand by that.
And now you have proof because they heard things. And the whole conversation they were having was basically Dr. Viviana being like, the person who you were when we first were trying to match you is not the person who you are now. So what happened? And you know what he said? It's Chris from 92. I'm like, I know you now referencing back to when you was a little child to being 27. Not even a child, a baby.
You was the Chris, the baby, the I didn't know nothing Chris versus now?
Yep, until he got married with Paige, and then all the bombshells start happening in his life, and he's been depressed, He just don't know where to go and where to move forward.
You know what? To me, Dr. Viviana should have shut that conversation down and held him accountable for his actions from A to Z. Not like, what happened to you from the beginning? Like when we vetted you.
That's true, but then Dr. Viviana is also kind of like, what's going on here? Like, Paige, what do you want from this? And she gonna say, all I want is a phone call, something simple. I'm like, the reason why you're in this still, not because God and you want to be in a covenant, is because you're doing simple stuff. And when you do simple stuff, he's gonna give you simple reactions, because then he was like, maybe we can, talk sometimes. Maybe we can go out on a lunch date or something, but on my turn. Yeah, Paige is still on the roller coaster, but geez, I was like, everything's about Chris. So Clara and Ryan, they are playing this really quick game before they see Dr. Viviana, mostly about intimacy. And once again, whenever it comes with intimacy, we already know Ryan's gonna shut down a little bit, and Clara's gonna want and push for more.
But is Ryan really shutting down, or is he just evading the conversation? Because I used to think he was shutting down too. I don't think so anymore. I think that Ryan isn't ready to move to the next level for someone he may not be as interested in as she is. And one thing I'm starting not to care for about Clara is that she leads her conversations. I know she's sexually frustrated, but she's leading with sex as if sex is the most important thing and then the relationship. Versus Ryan, it comes across as the opposite. Ryan keeps talking about his foundation. He's always said that.
Mm-hmm.
And Clara's not trying to hear that now. So that is where there is truly a break in their foundation that Ryan is trying to.
Yes, but with that, we do get some clarity with Clara, because we found out that in her last relationship that she said it was hard for her to get out, but she's happy that she did.
Mm-hmm.
She was in for 3 years and they didn't really have sex except for like 3 times a year because she wasn't feeling desired, she wasn't feeling wanted. So now she feels like it's potentially going to happen again in this situation.
She does, and that's something that she would have to go back for her to figure out what the divisiveness was in her previous relationship, where she didn't have the sexual satisfaction she was looking for then, to where she's also not getting now.
Well, that's very true. That was a good point, Mom. I like that. So now, I know you don't want to talk about them, but they're the next people who come up on the scene. We go back to Chris and Paige because now Dr. Viviana is left. Paige wants to make a visual aid for Christopher so they can know exactly when they can hang out. But once again, everything is being accommodated for Chris and what Chris wants to do, what Chris likes and all that stuff. So he suggests, not just action movies that he likes. He don't want to play card games. He wants to have lunch and have Bible study.
I was like, what? Bible study or body study?
I mean, the Bible study thing, because they want to get closer to God. I'm like, but wasn't Paige praying for you earlier?
No. Paige wants to get closer to God. He knows that's her thing. That's how he reels her in with the, you want to have Bible study?
That is so true. You are hitting the notes today. You must be over Chris.
I am.
So now we go on to Haley and Jacob. Haley is really concerned about wanting to connect on a different level, but this was a very interesting scene with Dr. Viviana, Haley, and Jacob, because Haley revealed some things that you were speaking on.
Haley didn't reveal nothing new to me. I just have to keep it real. Haley revealed nothing new to me, and those tears at the drop of a dime, like, why are you crying? If anyone is emotional, it ought to be Jacob. But that's just me. She still owes him an apology. She's like, I tried to do things for him. I tried to get him clothes and this and that to build the attraction and all this stuff, all the reasons why. And she admitted she wasn't attracted to him, but to Dr. Viviana, but we knew this already. So she wants to keep trying for the sake of going through the process. But if this wasn't a marriage and it was just a regular relationship, she would have been gone. We know this already.
Dr. Viviana tried to make them have a connection, since they are still living with each other, to move into the bedroom and, just sleep in the same bed, wake up and kiss each other, hug each other, do something with each other. But of course, while Jacob is willing to give this a try, Haley's like, I'm not too comfortable with that. So it's like, Haley, are you really willing to give it a try? Because you already have boom boom with the man. You already did something with him. So what's the difference now?
Right, and I'm just gonna go ahead and jump to they try it, and then we see Dr. Viviana come back again, because it really wasn't too much with that couple. But when Dr. Viviana came back the next day, she talked to Haley, and she's like, you know what? I read your questionnaire, and you said that, you were picky and all this extra stuff, and da-da-da. Oh, what happened with that?
You know what? I had a revelation.
What?
Is Haley kind of like Chris?
Haley doesn't like Jacob. Haley is not attracted to Jacob, and there's no reason to read people's questionnaires, because if that's the case, you need to read a few more.
Well, who else does she need to read?
Woo, let me check. Let's see. Ryan, Clara, Haley, Chris, Paige, Eric, the whole cast. The whole cast questionnaire.
Well, we're going back to Eric in Virginia, because this is where Dr. Viviana once again comes in to them, and says, hey, you know, I've been seeing you guys, I've been watching you guys, I've been hearing, and it seems like you guys have a really dynamite connection. And they're like, yeah, we get along really great. But then they're like, you know, we haven't had these conversations yet that we really need to have. And, you know, we're kind of scared because we don't want to shift our relationship. And Dr. Viviana was like, well, this is what I'm here for. So let's start on the conversation. Seems like Eric has one set of beliefs and Virginia has another set of beliefs, which I'm sure we're not really surprised about. But Eric, and this is why I sometimes have said he's controlling, because while Eric keeps saying, you know, we can agree and disagree and that's okay and all that other stuff, but you know, I'm not going to change, and you know, that's her problem that she has, because she don't want to see anything differently. She just wants to stay the same. And I'm just like, okay, Eric, I see you.
That kind of made me chuckle just by the way that you said it.
Why?
Like, you know, I'm not going to change. She's already said that though. So how come he can't say he can't change?
He can say
it. She said she's not going to change her parting ways, getting drunk on her friends' couches, and again, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So when Eric says he's not going to change something about him and his values, now it's an issue. Okay.
It is a little bit of an issue, and I think it's an issue because well, at least I kind of get the hint of what he's talking about. And they're kind of making it seem like, and Dr. Viviana did too, was like, you know, you can have your set of opinions, which you can, be in a relationship, and have just be different, have different set of views and opinions and stuff like that.
I mean, she didn't call out Virginia on her drinking or the things that she heard. She only called out really...
That's not what they were working on today. You had to stick to the subject.
I'm sticking to the subject. If you calling it out, call it out, because that's the main thing. Her drinking almost every episode and her partying ways that she said she's not changing. But the different belief systems that not only that they're on and that they're trying to come together with, and I think they're more together than they're not, is the age thing, because Virginia keeps talking about the age thing, so does Eric. And it is an issue because, you know, when it comes to like kids in the future, like Eric wants children now versus Virginia wants kids maybe later. And then they get into the dynamic of the reasons why after all that. And again, it comes down to Virginia's family. What she's seen, what she's afraid of. You know, we've been mentioning this, you know, over and over.
You definitely have.
Over and over and over. She's afraid, but at the same time she wants it. So it's like she's on a collision course and she doesn't know which one she wants to take, but they're colliding.
Well, moving on from that one. We then have Ryan and Clara, who also meet with Dr. Viviana. And I think their conversation was very enlightening.
You know, the song that just popped in my head by Digital Underground, it's old school. Same
I don't know.
song. If you're old head like me, old school, you know what I'm talking about. Digital Underground, same song. It's the same song. It's the same dance. Structure, structure, structure. We're doing things, we're not doing things. But is it sex? It's sex. Was it all the way intercourse? No, it's not. We're having issues. How come we're not having sex? How come this? How come that? So Dr. Viviana asked Ryan to please let me talk to Clara by herself. And that's when Clara mentions about, you know, those previous relationships and not necessarily having sex with that person, and then bringing it back to Ryan, how they do everything under the sun. And
but there was one specific point that she made in this specific
Dr.
scene.
V or Clara?
Claire. I keep forgetting how to pronounce her name.
Clara.
But she said that she's afraid that she won't be able to give Ryan what he's looking for because he holds having sex at a higher regard than she does, because that's not what she's used to. She's used to having sex with guys and them not thinking anything of it and them just going to person, while Ryan, on the other hand, is making it seem like, you know, I need to have trust, I need to have some sense of normalcy with you, like we need to have some kind of connection for real before I dive into this.
Well, if Claire's just out there just having sex with just any old body, then she's just having sex. She's not necessarily in a relationship.
And that's the issue. She is not used to doing what Ryan is doing, so she doesn't know if she can give that to him just yet. And I thought that was a good revelation for her to see that within herself.
Yeah, but Dr. V also asked Claire in the same breath, like, do you think he's a virgin? And she said no, she didn't think so, but she thinks that it's Ryan's background. And I've said that.
I don't think so either. If he's doing everything else under the sun besides doing the actual do, he's not no virgin. He's just trying to hold out for whatever he claims it is. Don't even give us a timeline. Just says, when I feel it. Like, could you give us a percentage, please?
And then, the other couples try to do other things as well with different tasks, like the Bree and Vincent, they also
that was
do.
The cutest one.
Yeah, with the romantic games.
Yeah,
but that's something that
tent,
Vinny came up with, though, right? That was his suggestion.
See,
once again.
I like Vinny. I just don't like when he has an attitude.
Well, again, when he does something he likes, it's
It
okay.
goes good.
It goes good so far. And then let's see.
We're not even going to talk about the other couples because the main couple that really hits it at the end is wrapping it up with Chris and Paige, because they finally get to have the Bible study. Chris comes in with the Harold chicken. Paige is all ready to go. They sit down to eat the food. They're eating whatever. And Chris is like, I thought we was having Bible study. And Paige is like, well, what did you bring?
Well, before that, before they eat the food, what, we're not going to bless the food? He's like, oh, well, you go ahead. She's like, why you always want me to bless the food? I'm like, see there? That's part of the issue.
To bring up that point because
yes. That's part of the issue to me. One of the issues.
Well, with that being said, he didn't even have anything prepared for a Bible study that he suggested.
It weren't no Bible study. We was eating with some body study. You know what's up? Because if you noticed when Paige, read her the things that she studied and prepared
about friendship.
Yeah.
If I was Paige, when he told me he didn't have nothing prepared, I was like, well, me either. But every time he was even speaking on the specific part in the Bible, she was taking down notes like he was like a professor or something. Like, are you that impressed by Chris? Because Chris does not impress me at all. He's talking about how, you have to be selfless, you gotta be patient with love is kind, and all that other stuff. And Paige finally decides to take this opportunity to be like, we haven't really talked about the baby thing. I push it under the rug because, I didn't want to push you away, even though he's the one having the kid. But whatever.
She said that she was negligent in her feelings because she should have been there for him. And I'm thinking,
I just have to laugh at that, and then I have to laugh at the part, and it's not funny, like haha funny. It's like, are you serious? He goes and drops a bomb, but he gives his good story. It could be real. Not saying
don't even go into detail about the story.
But the story is, Mercedes, his ex, got into a car accident 6 years ago, and she hasn't been able to get a car since. So now that she's having his baby, he decided to buy her a brand new Mercedes. Like, was Paige supposed to be like happy about this or something? Like, what was Paige's reaction supposed to be? But Paige's reaction, she gave two reactions. Her first reaction was she was understanding because, she does need transportation. But then in the other reaction, she rolled her eyes. But my reaction was, so y'all been together this whole time. So y'all got engaged and you didn't get her a car when y'all got engaged?
Well, my thing is she should have did what I did.
But why would Paige do that?
She needs to. Disconnect, look at your phone as if you're just interested in the conversation, because he's telling you things clearly you don't want to hear, you don't want to know, and things are still happening behind your back as if Mercedes is the wife. So the way he cuts you off and snubs you, do the same.
He once again keeps giving her these outs, these signs, these ways, these talks, everything you can ask for to not be with him, but yet she's still with him. So we have to go through another week of the Chris and Paige saga along with everyone else. So, Mom, overall, how did you feel about this episode?
You know what? I didn't have any energy for this episode because we just keep getting fillers. There's nothing really to receive. I will say that the couple who is starting to become the new breakout for me is Ryan and Clara. Because I want to know how long she's going to stay reserved and be like, look, Ryan, there's no more giving and not receiving. And how long is she going to stay? Because coming up with the future episode, she said that, you know, she may not be able to stick through this for at least 6 more months. So,
well, we'll have to see on that. I'm actually ready for the Cabin in the Woods episode. However, they're going to do that. That is the episode to look for because, like you said, they are giving lots of fillers, and I kind of see this happening throughout the season. But I'm happy to see Dr. Viviana, and now we got more insight that they really do know what happens. They just choose not to say nothing to them. So let us know what you guys think about this episode in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching and sticking through this episode with us. Make sure you guys give this video a like, share this video to other people who watch Married at First Sight, and join us tomorrow, Thursday, whatever you're watching this, at 5:15 West Coast time, 8:15 East Coast time, so we can talk about this episode that we just watched.
thank you all again for watching. And as always, live simply, be grateful.